had a tour called Slave Life. That was before I came to Mount Vernon, and it really was a tour that talks a lot about George Washington's use of slaves, role, and the central role of slaves, enslaved, what we call today enslaved labor. But this tour focuses more on the relationship between him and these enslaved people, and how his dependency on them is transforming them, and how he's transforming their world by shifting into new directions with the skilled labor, freeing them. Much of what you see here reflects skilled trades, and that is important because here at Mount Vernon, only at Mount Vernon, George Washington is breaking ranks with his contemporaries, bringing over European skilled tradesmen, requiring that they train the enslaved workers to do the exact same skilled value-added trades. Same level of quality, same level of efficiency. The thing is, the Washingtons, Lees, and Custuses are all intermarried. So by the time we get to the Civil War, Washington's family a lot of them have become Confederate. Many of these people and many of these organizations have historically had a very strong connection with Mount Vernon.
Oh.
So even what we could present had to be approved, scrutinized. And these gentry here in Virginia are people who are descended from families with standing in England, and ultimately families that have standing in the English colony of Virginia. The Washingtons, the Lees, the Custuses, they're all in that category. So George Washington's great-grandfather gets the original 2,100-acre land grant from the King of England, and that becomes Mount Vernon. He's transforming their world. Learning more about who these people were, and how each of them have these different strengths and weaknesses, how they're people who, in many instances, rise to an occasion that no one expects them to rise to, and ultimately George Washington recognizes that their rising to the occasion in many ways make the difference with him being able to succeed. So what you see here on the outside and inside, a lot of it is reflecting the work of skilled enslaved labor. All right, if you look this way, even to cut his lawn, the enslaved workers had to be basically at the same level of a skilled European master landscaper. So we know there's an enslaved man by the name of George. This graveyard where we're going to, the enslaved worker cemetery, it was destroyed at the beginning of the last century. Knocked down. If they had tombstones, they were removed. We know that on occasion, if George Washington was here, if he found out a slave had died, he would give permission for wood from the carpenter to be used to make coffins. They systematically destroyed the graveyard and planted over it. This is the enslaved worker cemetery. So at the beginning of the last century, it was destroyed. Even to be able to say about the relations between these men in the gentry and enslaved women, that's something that's relatively new. Not that it wasn't known, but that's new, So it's just, there are just so many different lines that made it possible to reorganize this whole discussion of this reality.